You might think your heart is doing just fine. You don't feel any chest pain, you take your medication diligently, and maybe your last checkup even showed your blood pressure was under control. But what if I told you that right now, as you sit watching this, your heart and arteries could be fighting a quiet battle, a battle they might already be losing? Not because of obvious things like stress or lack of exercise, but because of the seemingly innocent food sitting right in your kitchen pantry. Foods you eat every single day, perhaps even believing they are healthy. Welcome to Healthier Daily. I'm Dr. Ben Carter. The terrifying truth is that heart disease rarely announces itself with a loud warning. It often whispers. A little extra fatigue after meals you dismiss as getting older. A fleeting ache in your chest that vanishes quickly. Maybe colder hands and feet or slightly more swollen ankles at night. These are the subtle signs of what doctors call silent arterial damage. And according to alarming cardiology studies like those from the renowned Cleveland Clinic, this silent process is implicated in nearly 1 in 3 heart attacks among adults over 60, even striking those who lead otherwise healthy lives. To help us understand this hidden threat and how to combat it naturally, we are deeply privileged to have our guiding expert, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, with us.
Thank you, Ben. This silence is indeed the greatest danger. We must learn to listen more closely. Think of your magnificent cardiovascular system as a vast network of intricate pipelines, your arteries and veins connected to a powerful, tireless central pump, your heart. In a healthy state, these pipelines are smooth on the inside, wonderfully flexible and wide open, allowing the vital fluid of life to flow effortlessly. The pump works rhythmically, efficiently, without strain. But over time, often completely unnoticed sabotage can occur. The smooth inner lining of the pipes can become corroded and inflamed. The flexible walls can start to harden and crack. Sludge-like deposits can begin to build up, narrowing the passage. And as the pipelines become damaged and obstructed, the central pump is forced to work harder and harder under increasing strain just to keep the fluid moving. This is the silent progression of heart disease. It doesn't happen overnight. As Ben said, it happens bite by bite.
And that bite by bite is where today's focus lies. Because the shocking reality is that many common foods, even ones marketed as heart healthy, contain specific ingredients that act as corrosive agents, hardening compounds, or sludge promoters within your arterial pipelines. The breakfast cereals promising lower cholesterol, the vegetable oils labeled heart-friendly, the low-fat yogurts, they can look safe on the outside while delivering precisely the wrong chemical signals to your cardiovascular system. But here is the profoundly good news. Your heart and arteries possess an incredible capacity for resilience and healing. Even after years of silent damage, the process is often reversible if you stop introducing the saboteurs and start providing the materials for repair. So in today's masterclass, Dr. Hinohara and I will act as your system engineers. We will expose 4 specific mechanisms by which common foods damage your pipelines and overload your pump. More importantly, for each mechanism, we will show you the simple natural food choices that actively protect and support your cardiovascular health from the very next meal. You don't have to wait for a health crisis to take action. If you are ready to become the proactive guardian of your own heart, to learn how to identify these hidden saboteurs and choose the path of protection and healing, please make that commitment now. Go to the comments section below and type the word protect. It's your declaration to safeguard your vital pipelines. And while you're there, please subscribe to Healthier Daily and ring that notification bell. Let's begin securing the health of your heart together. Our first point of investigation in this silent sabotage is the very inner lining of your arterial pipelines. This lining, called the endothelium, is incredibly delicate. Think of it as a smooth non-stick coating, almost like Teflon, designed to allow blood cells and fats to flow by without friction or sticking. It's only one cell thick, but its health is paramount for your entire cardiovascular system. It produces substances that help regulate blood pressure and prevent clotting. A healthy endothelium is the foundation of healthy arteries. Mechanism number one that damages this delicate lining is the sugar surge. We're talking about the rapid, sharp spike in blood sugar that occurs after eating foods high in refined carbohydrates and added sugars. When your bloodstream is suddenly flooded with excess glucose, it triggers a cascade of damaging events within that endothelial lining. First, the high sugar level directly causes inflammation. It irritates those delicate endothelial cells, making them sticky and dysfunctional. Imagine throwing fine sand into a smoothly running engine. It scratches and damages the moving parts. Second, and perhaps even more insidiously, this excess sugar reacts with proteins and fats in your bloodstream and artery walls through a process called glycation. Glycation essentially caramelizes your tissues. It creates stiff, dysfunctional molecules called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. Think of AGEs as sticky brown rust forming on the inside of your flexible pipelines. This rust makes the artery walls stiff and brittle, directly contributing to arterial stiffness, a major predictor of heart attack and stroke. It also makes the lining stickier, creating sites where cholesterol can more easily latch on and begin forming plaque. So the sugar surge delivers a double blow: immediate inflammatory scratching and long-term stiffening rust.
This is why seemingly innocent foods can be so dangerous. They don't look harmful, but they trigger this internal corrosive process. It's like pouring a slightly acidic liquid into your pipes every day. You don't see the damage immediately, but over years, the pipes weaken and fail. Identifying the foods that cause these surges is our first critical step as pipeline guardians.
Exactly. So which common healthy foods are the primary culprits behind mechanism 1, the sugar surge? Processed breakfast cereals. As mentioned in the original script, most boxed cereals, even those claiming whole grain or Heart Smart, are made from highly refined flours and loaded with added sugars, often 8 to 12 grams or more per serving, sometimes disguised as cane juice, maltose, or corn syrup solids. They hit your bloodstream almost as fast as candy, causing that damaging spike and inflammatory response first thing in the morning. Low-fat or fat-free yogurts and salad dressings. When manufacturers remove fat for that heart-healthy label, they almost invariably replace it with sugar corn syrup or artificial thickeners to maintain taste and texture. A typical low-fat fruit yogurt can pack 20-25 grams of sugar, equivalent to 5-6 teaspoons. These products create the illusion of health while delivering a massive sugar surge. Energy bars, protein. Bars, meal replacements. Many of these are marketed as healthy snacks or meal solutions, but often contain a shocking amount of sugar syrups, refined grains like processed oats or Rice Crisps, and sometimes sugar alcohols, creating significant glycemic volatility, that rapid up and down swing in blood sugar that damages the endothelium. These foods directly contribute to the cracking and rusting of your arterial lining through inflammation and glycation. What are the heart protective swaps? Instead of sugary cereals, choose steel-cut oats, quinoa, porridge, or plain shredded wheat, checking labels for minimal added sugar. Add berries, nuts, or seeds like chia or flax for natural sweetness, fiber, and healthy fats to slow glucose absorption. Instead of low-fat sweetened yogurt, opt for plain full-fat Greek yogurt or regular yogurt. Add your own fresh fruit. The fat and protein buffer the sugar release. Instead of processed bars, choose whole food snacks like a handful of almonds and apple with nut butter or hard-boiled eggs. If you need a bar, scrutinize labels for low sugar, 6G high fiber 3G, and minimal processed ingredients.
I remember a patient, Evelyn, a retired librarian in her early 70s. She was meticulous about her health, always choosing low-fat options and starting her day with a heart-healthy brand cereal. Yet, she complained of profound fatigue, especially mid-morning, and her inflammatory markers like HSCRP were surprisingly high. She felt she was doing everything right, but felt worse. We looked closely at her healthy breakfast. The cereal, despite its claims, was high in added sugar. Her low-fat yogurt was similarly loaded. She was starting her day with a massive sugar surge leading to an insulin spike, followed by the inevitable blood sugar crash that caused her mid-morning fatigue. The constant inflammation from this daily cycle was likely contributing to her elevated CRP. The change was simple. We swapped her cereal for plain steel-cut oats with blueberries and walnuts, and her low-fat yogurt for plain full-fat Greek yogurt. Within 2 weeks, her mid-morning fatigue vanished. She reported feeling sustained energy for the first time in years. We hadn't added any miracle foods. We had simply removed the hidden sugar surge that was causing the micro cracks and inflammation in her system day after day. By protecting the pipeline lining, her entire system began to function better.
We've addressed the damage caused by the sugar surge, the cracking and rusting of the delicate inner lining of our arterial pipelines. Now we turn to the second major saboteur, one that puts direct, relentless mechanical stress on the entire system, the salt overload. This mechanism isn't primarily about inflammation or glycation. It's about sheer hydraulic pressure straining the central pump, your heart, and physically damaging the pipelines, your arteries. Here's how it works. Your body operates within a very precise fluid balance, regulated primarily by your kidneys, managing sodium and potassium levels. When you consume excess sodium, far more than your body needs, your system goes into preservation mode. To dilute the excess salt in your bloodstream and maintain the correct concentration, your body holds on to extra water. This retained water increases the total volume of blood circulating through your pipelines. Now imagine trying to push a larger volume of liquid through the same set of pipes using the same pump. What happens? The pressure inside the pipes skyrockets. This is high blood pressure hypertension in its most basic form. Your heart, the central pump, is forced to work significantly harder, beat after beat, minute after minute, just to move this excess fluid volume around. This chronic overload directly strains and eventually weakens the heart muscle itself. But the damage extends to the pipelines too. That constant elevated pressure batters the artery walls from the inside. Just like a pipe constantly subjected to pressures beyond its tolerance, the artery walls respond by becoming thicker, stiffer, and less flexible. They lose their youthful elasticity. This arterial stiffness is not only a consequence of high blood pressure, it further worsens it, creating a dangerous cycle. These stiff, brittle pipes are also far more prone to damage, cracking, and the buildup of plaque mechanism 3, which we'll discuss next.
It is like constantly running your home's plumbing system at maximum pressure. Not only does it put a terrible strain on the main water pump, but eventually the pipes themselves will start to weaken, leak, or even burst. Excess sodium creates a state of perpetual high pressure within your cardiovascular system, silently eroding its integrity over time. Identifying the major sources of this overload is critical for protecting both the pump and the pipes.
And the sources are often hidden in plain sight, frequently disguised as convenient or even traditional comfort foods. The primary culprits behind mechanism 2, the salt overload, include canned soups and instant noodles. As the original script highlighted, these are often sodium bombs. A single serving can contain 800 millimol, 1,200 millimolars, or even over 2,000 millimolars of sodium, when the daily recommendation for seniors is ideally under 1,500 millimolars. They offer convenience at the direct cost of overwhelming your system. Deli meats and bacon, cold cuts, ham, turkey slices, bacon sausages, these are typically cured and preserved using large amounts of sodium, often 800, 1,200 micrograms per small serving in sodium nitrates, which we'll address later. Pickles and commercially produced sauerkraut. While fermentation can be healthy, the brine used for commercial pickling and sauerkraut is usually incredibly high in sodium to ensure preservation. Just a few pickles can exceed your daily limit. Hidden sodium processed plant-based meats. As we'll discuss more in Phase 5, many imitation meats rely heavily on sodium for flavor and texture, often containing as much or more than the processed meats they aim to replace. These foods flood your system with sodium, forcing water retention, increasing blood volume, straining your heart, and stiffening your arteries. What are the heart protective swaps? Instead of canned soups, make homemade soups using low-sodium broth or water, flavored with herbs, spices, garlic, and onions. Load them with vegetables. Instead of deli meats, choose freshly cooked poultry, fish, or lean meats. Roast a turkey breast or chicken at the beginning of the week for easy sandwich slices. Instead of commercial pickles, sauerkraut, look for low-sodium versions, read labels, carefully rinse. Store-bought products thoroughly before eating. This removes significant surface salt, or learn to make your own low-salt ferments at home. Boost potassium actively include potassium-rich foods like leafy greens, spinach, kale, avocados, bananas, beans, and lentils. Potassium helps your body naturally excrete excess sodium, acting as a counterbalance.
I remember a patient, Frank, a 75-year-old widower. His blood pressure was borderline high, but he wasn't yet on medication. He complained of feeling generally puffy, especially his fingers in the morning, and being constantly thirsty. Even though he drank water, he relied heavily on canned soups and deli sandwiches for his meals due to their simplicity. We didn't start him on medication. We simply addressed the salt overload. We taught him how to make large batches of simple, flavorful, homemade vegetable soup to freeze in portions. We showed him how easy it was to roast a chicken breast for sandwiches instead of buying processed turkey. We encouraged him to add spinach or avocado to his meals. Within a month, the changes were remarkable. His morning puffiness disappeared, his constant thirst subsided, and at his next checkup, his blood pressure had dipped back into the healthy range. We hadn't given him a drug. We had simply stopped overloading his pump and pipelines with excessive sodium. We allowed his system to find its natural balance again. Reducing the pressure protects the entire river network. We have addressed the cracking of the pipeline lining caused by sugar surges and the immense pressure strain from salt overload. Now we turn to the third saboteur, perhaps the one most commonly associated with heart disease, but often deeply misunderstood. We must address the issue of corrosive fats and sludge buildup within the pipelines. Imagine pouring damaging chemicals or thick, sticky sludge into your home's plumbing. Eventually, the flow will stop. Certain types of fats act precisely this way within your arteries.
Exactly. Not all fats are created equal. While healthy fats are essential, certain types act as direct corrosive agents to the endothelial lining or contribute to the buildup of dangerous plaque, that sludge Dr. Hinohara mentioned. Let's break down the three main culprits under this mechanism. Culprit 1, trans fats, the toxic sludge. These are artificial fats created by chemically altering liquid vegetable oils through a process called hydrogenation. This makes them solid and shelf-stable, perfect for processed foods. Think margarine, vegetable shortening, many commercial baked goods, coffee creamers, and fried foods. Trans fats are cardiovascular poison. They dramatically raise your bad LDL cholesterol, lower your good HDL cholesterol, trigger intense inflammation, and directly contribute to the formation of sticky, dangerous plaque in your arteries. Although officially banned as an additive, watch out for partially hydrogenated oils on ingredient lists. That's hidden trans fat, culprit 2, oxidized oils. The corrosive agents, this relates less to the type of oil and more to how it's treated. When certain oils, especially those high in polyunsaturated fats like standard vegetable oils, corn, soy, canola, are heated to high temperatures, deep frying, or reused repeatedly, they oxidize. This chemical reaction creates harmful compounds like lipid peroxides and aldehydes. These compounds act like corrosive acid, directly attacking and damaging the delicate endothelial lining of your arteries, triggering inflammation and creating rough spots where plaque can easily start to form. This is the primary reason why fried foods, especially commercially fried items, are so detrimental. This sadly includes fried fish, turning a potentially healthy food into an arterial threat due to the damaged oil it's cooked in. Culprit 3, excess saturated fat, the thickening sludge, nuance required. This is a controversial area, but the science points towards caution for seniors, especially regarding source and quantity. While natural saturated fats from whole foods like grass-fed butter or quality meat in moderation might be okay for some excessive intake, particularly from processed meats, which also contain sodium nitrates, or trendy sources like coconut oil can significantly raise LDL cholesterol in many individuals. Coconut oil is about 87% saturated fat. While it contains medium-chain triglycerides, MCTs, which are metabolized differently, the dominant fats still raise LDL. For those already at risk, consistently high LDL contributes to that thickening sludge, the buildup of plaque in the arteries. Moderation and source are key. These corrosive fats and sludge promoters directly damage your pipelines and obstruct flow. What are the heart protective swaps? Instead of trans fats, margarine shortening use moderate amounts of real butter or ghee or spreads made from extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil. Read every label to avoid partially hydrogenated oils. Instead of fried foods, bake, grill, broil, steam, or air fry your food. Cook at home more often using stable oils like extra virgin olive oil, low-medium heat, avocado oil, or even ghee, butter, coconut oil, sparingly acknowledging the saturated fat aspect. Absolutely avoid deep frying with refined vegetable oils. Prepare fish using gentle cooking methods. Instead of excessive saturated fat ESBs, coconut oil as primary fat, prioritize monounsaturated fats. Olive oil, avocado oil, nuts, like almonds, macadamias, and polyunsaturated omega-3 fats. Fatty fish, flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts. Use coconut oil only occasionally and in small amounts if desired, not as your main cooking fat.
It is about choosing fats that soothe and protect the pipeline lining, rather than those that corrode it or contribute to blockage. It requires reading labels beyond the marketing claims and understanding how heat and processing can transform a natural ingredient into something harmful.
Understanding these different fat types is crucial for long-term pipeline health, and connecting with others on this health journey is just as important. Please take a moment now to share which state or country you are watching from in the comments below. It's truly heartening for us to see our global, healthier daily community supporting each other.
We have addressed the major corrosive agents flowing through our arterial pipelines, the sugar surges cracking the lining, the salt overload straining the pump and hardening the pipes, and the damaging fats creating sludge and corrosion. But there is one final modern saboteur we must expose. It's not a single ingredient, but rather the cumulative effect of ultra-processing itself, the complex chemical cocktail found in many packaged and convenience foods. Think of it as introducing unknown industrial solvents and synthetic compounds into your delicate river ecosystem. Their effects can be widespread and unpredictable, disrupting the system in ways we are only beginning to understand.
Exactly. Beyond the obvious culprits of sugar, salt, and unhealthy fats, ultra-processed foods often contain a long list of additives designed to enhance flavor, texture, and shelf life. While some may be benign, others act as specific disruptors to your cardiovascular system, contributing to that silent arterial damage. Let's highlight a few key components of this chemical cocktail. Cocktail ingredient 1, nitrates, nitrites in processed meats. We mentioned the high sodium in deli meats and bacon under mechanism 2, but they also contain sodium nitrates or nitrites as preservatives. Inside your body, particularly under certain conditions, these can convert into nitrosamines. These compounds are known to increase oxidative stress and impair endothelial function. That delicate inner lining of your arteries becomes less able to relax and regulate blood flow properly. It's like adding a chemical that stiffens the smooth Teflon coating of the pipes. Cocktail ingredient 2, inorganic phosphates in cereals, processed foods. While organic phosphorus from whole foods is essential, many processed foods, including some breakfast cereals, processed cheeses, and sodas, contain added inorganic phosphates like sodium phosphate used as preservatives or texture enhancers. Emerging research links high intake of these specific phosphate additives to vascular calcification, the dangerous hardening of artery walls related to mechanism 3, but via a different pathway. It's like adding a compound that encourages minerals to precipitate out of the bloodstream and onto the pipe walls. Cocktail ingredient 3, emulsifiers and thickeners in low-fat products, bars, plant meats, found in many low-fat, fat-free dressings, yogurts, energy bars, and crucially many plant-based meat alternatives additives, like carboxymethylcellulose, polysorbate, AT, and carrageenan are used to create appealing textures. As we discussed in our gut-joint axis masterclass, growing evidence suggests these emulsifiers can disrupt the gut microbiome and increase intestinal permeability, leaky gut. This allows inflammatory molecules to enter the bloodstream, contributing to systemic inflammation that ultimately affects the heart and arteries, like poisoning the main water source that feeds the entire pipeline network. This brings us specifically to plant-based meat alternatives. While marketed as heart-healthy, many are ultra-processed. They often rely heavily on the very ingredients we've warned against: high sodium mechanism, too unhealthy added fats like refined coconut oil or canola oil mechanism 3, and these problematic emulsifiers, thickeners, and flavor enhancers mechanism 4. Distinguish these highly engineered products from whole plant proteins like lentils, beans, tofu, or tempeh, which are truly heart healthy. Don't be fooled by the plant-based label alone. The processing is key.
It is the cumulative burden of this chemical cocktail that poses the threat. It's not just one ingredient, but the constant exposure to multiple synthetic compounds that disrupts your body's natural balance, fuels inflammation stresses, detoxification pathways like the liver, and ultimately undermines the health of your pipelines and pump. Choosing whole, unprocessed foods isn't just about avoiding sugar or salt. It's about avoiding this entire category of industrial chemistry that our bodies were never designed to handle.
So the final part of our avoidance strategy focuses on minimizing this chemical load. The heart protective swaps are straightforward. Instead of processed meats, choose freshly cooked poultry, fish, or lean cuts of meat. Use herbs and spices for flavor, not nitrates and excessive salt. Instead of foods with long additive lists, cereals, bars, sauces, plant meats, prioritize whole single-ingredient foods. Cook meals from scratch whenever possible. Read labels diligently. If you can't pronounce it or don't recognize it, your body likely won't either. Instead of relying on plant-based meat alternatives, embrace whole plant proteins like lentils, beans, chickpeas, tofu, and tempeh. Cook them yourself in flavorful ways.
I recall a patient, George, who believed he was eating a very healthy diet. He had switched to low-fat, everything used margarine instead of butter, ate plant-based burgers several times a week, and started his day with a fortified cereal. Yet his cholesterol levels remained poor. His blood pressure was creeping up, and he felt persistently sluggish. He was avoiding obvious junk food, but his diet was saturated with the very chemical cocktails Dr. Carter described: hidden sugars, sodium, unhealthy fats disguised as healthy and humorous additives. By shifting his focus away from labels and towards whole, unprocessed foods, cooking simple meals with real ingredients, his energy returned and his cardiovascular markers began to improve significantly within months. He hadn't gone on a diet. He had simply stopped consuming the chemical interference.
George's story highlights the power of this final mechanism. Reducing your exposure to ultra-processing and its associated chemical cocktail removes a major source of systemic stress and inflammation, allowing your cardiovascular system, your pipelines and pump to function closer to its natural healthy state. We have now identified all 4 major saboteurs. It's time to assemble your comprehensive protection plan.
We have journeyed deep into the intricate network of your cardiovascular system, understanding it not just as flesh and blood, but as vital pipelines and a tireless central pump. We have unmasked the silent saboteurs, the sugar surges cracking the lining, the salt overload straining the pump and hardening the pipes, the corrosive fats building sludge, and the chemical cocktail disrupting the entire system. You now see that protecting your heart goes far beyond simply avoiding junk food. It requires a conscious awareness of the hidden dangers lurking in many everyday foods. But knowledge alone does not change the flow of the river. Action does. The most empowering truth is that you hold the power to become the vigilant pipeline guardian. By understanding these mechanisms, you can now make informed daily choices not out of fear, but out of wisdom and self-care choices that actively protect your pipelines, support your pump, and promote a smooth, healthy flow of life for years to come.
That guardianship is put into practice through the Guardian's Diet Ski, your actionable plan based on everything we've learned. It's not about complex rules or deprivation. It's about shifting your focus towards whole nourishing foods that support your cardiovascular system's natural resilience. Your priorities foods to embrace. Pipeline protectors load up on fruits and vegetables rich in antioxidants, potassium, fiber. Whole grains like steel, cut oats, quinoa, brown rice for slow-release energy and fiber, legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas, excellent plant protein and fiber. Healthy flow promoters prioritize healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil, avocado and avocado oil, nuts, walnuts, almonds, and seeds, chia flax, great omega-3 sources. Include fatty fish, wild salmon, sardines, mackerel 2-3 times a week for potent omega-3s. Pump support, choose quality protein sources like fish, poultry, skinless legumes, tofu tempeh, and moderate amounts of lean grass-fed meats if desired. The foundation, cook at home whenever possible using whole ingredients. Learn to read ingredient labels meticulously, focusing on avoiding the saboteurs. Stay well hydrated with water. Your minimize, eliminate list foods to reduce or avoid. Stop the sugar surge. Drastically cut back on added sugars, high fructose corn, syrup, sugary drinks, and refined carbohydrates, processed cereals, white bread, pastries. Reduce the salt overload. Avoid canned soups, instant noodles, deli meats, bacon, commercial, pickles, sauerkraut, and heavily processed snacks. Aim for under 1,500 millimolars sodium daily. Eliminate corrosive fats, completely avoid trans fats, partially hydrogenated oils, margarine, shortening many processed baked goods. Minimize deep-fried foods, especially those cooked in refined vegetable seed oils. Corn, soy, canola. Use coconut oil very sparingly, if at all, for heart health focus. Avoid the chemical cocktail steer, clear of ultra-processed foods with long, unpronounceable ingredient lists, many bars, frozen meals, plant-based meat alternatives, processed snacks. Minimize nitrates, phosphates, emulsifiers, etc. This clear, actionable approach optimizes endothelial function nutrition. It's key for arterial stiffness reduction foods. By managing dietary sodium blood pressure, seniors avoiding trans fat hidden sources, and understanding ultra-processed foods, cardiovascular risk, you are taking comprehensive control of your heart health. If this masterclass on protecting your vital pipelines and pump has provided you with clarity, actionable steps, and a renewed sense of empowerment, please honor our work by giving this video a like. And please share it. This information could literally save the life of someone you care about who is unaware of these hidden dangers. And if you haven't yet joined our growing community of proactive health guardians, this is our warmest invitation to subscribe to Healthier Daily and ring that notification bell. We are dedicated to bringing you trustworthy, science-based natural health solutions. Finally, our most important question for you today, as the guardian of your own cardiovascular system, reflecting on the 4 mechanisms of silent damage we've uncovered, which of the 4 damage mechanisms, the sugar surge, cracking rust, the salt overload, pressure hardening, the corrosive fat sludge corrosion, or the chemical cocktail systemic disruption, do you suspect might be most impacting your pipelines right now? Please share your thoughtful answer in the comments section below. Identifying your primary area of focus is the first step towards targeted change, and your journey can inspire and guide others within our community. From all of us at Healthier Daily, thank you for investing this time in the long-term health of your heart.
Be a vigilant and wise pipeline guardian. May your inner rivers flow smoothly and your heart pump strongly for all the vibrant years ahead.